This winter has been one of being challenged about whether I'm really committed to what I say I want. Am I willing to act in alignment with my desires? What cycles will I keep repeating, knowing how much better I want for myself and my community? It's been so easy for me to find myself in energies of anger, numbness, and exhaustion. And as I work to reclaim my energy, I've been redefining what freedom is. I don't think that there's any way of being without bindings and attachment. It's about learning how to engage with the attachments and bindings and desires that I do have in a way that still allows me to be my most human and be my most compassionate and be my most creative.
Your blood tastes so sweet, like sugar, baby, like sugar, baby.
Like nothing is feeling aligned with like who I am or who I want to communicate, what I want to communicate about myself. And yeah, it's just like this very sudden shift of feeling like I'm grown up. Like I don't know how to explain it. And it kind of sucks. I do think that like shifting into this new phase just requires so much more, I don't want to say practicality or seriousness because I don't want to imply that I'm like replacing any of my silliness or enjoyment, but it just feels like the way that I want to have fun is changing, and just the things that I value, and to myself, the feeling that I evoke, the vibration that I carry myself with is what other people pick up on and what other people feel, regardless of the grandness or the minimality of our connection. Like, I think that people really pick up on energy, and so I think it's about being honest with my energy.
And although I find myself often misanthropic and insecure, I also recognize that I'm bound to this collective and I feel called to taking part in our healing. I've been on, I guess you could call it a medicine path for my whole life, and I feel like I've hardly broken the surface of what it means to actually live wholly and fully and to live freely. But I continue to grow from the violences that I've committed against myself and heal from the violence that I've experienced, as well as working towards a sense of forgiveness and respect despite the violences that I've committed against others, whether it was intentional or not. I think that's one of the harder things to reckon with, is that no one is free from experiencing violence, and no one is free from perpetuating violence necessarily. I think that it's so ingrained into our world, and so it's so necessary to address as a collective. And I've wanted to circle back to this violence so much, to dwell in self-loathing and in that hatred of the world and in blaming everything around me and blaming myself and holding myself in a state of guilt and a state of shame and dwelling in hopelessness and romanticizing death and romanticizing this anger without direction. You know, I think that anger is vital, but I think that it has to have a route to go. And I think that's something that I've been struggling with a little bit. But I reject this notion that I am incurable, that there is some wound or some trauma or some characteristic of myself that I cannot liberate and that I cannot alchemize into something closer to divinity. For me right now, that just means collecting any moment or experience that feels beautiful and sharing that and sharing my mind and indulging in a little bit of hope and offering up any hope that I've gathered. I think that it's kind of corny, but I think that's the mission right now. So thank you for witnessing me, and I intend to bring as much of that hope and beauty forward as I can possibly muster up.